You get used to the smell. Bleach, formaldehyde, and something metallic beneath it all, like rusted coins dissolved in water. It clings to your clothes, your skin, your teeth. People in the elevator wrinkle their noses without meaning to. I stopped noticing it years ago. I work the night shift at the county morgue, which is to say, I work alone. No footsteps but my own. No conversation but the occasional mutter to myself. I move among the dead, cataloging the forgotten, sewing up the sliced, and logging the unclaimed. There's a kind of peace in it, if you're wired wrong like me. But something's changed. It began 3 weeks ago, with locker number 23. We don't use that one anymore. The cooling system's faulty, gets too cold. Not, call maintenance, cold. Inhumanly cold. Condensation forms frost on the handle within minutes, even in a warm room. When I first noticed it, I opened the drawer expecting a body someone forgot to log. It was empty. Still is. I reported it. Maintenance came, grumbled, banged on a few pipes. Said they'd get to it next quarter. Budget issues. So I locked it, put a sticker on it, do not use. But sometimes, when I'm walking through the corridor at night, I hear the drawer slide open. Metal on metal, slow and grinding. When I go check, it's still closed, frost thickening on the seam. Last night, I left a paperclip balanced on the handle. This morning, it was on the floor, twisted into a spiral. Then there's the smell. Not the usual chemical rot. This one is sweet. Sickly. Like spoiled syrup or overripe fruit. It drifts through the hall around 3 a.m. Always then. It doesn't matter if I open windows or scrub the floor. It returns. It waits. And the lights. Only in the hallway outside Autopsy Room B. They don't flicker randomly, they pulse. A rhythm. 2 short blinks. Pause. 2 more. Over and over. I timed it last night. It matches a heartbeat. Exactly 72 BPM. I told myself it's nothing. Just nerves. Lack of sleep. But there's a mirror mounted above the sink in the prep room, and when I passed it tonight, just tonight, I didn't see myself. Just a dark shape. Standing too still. I turned around. No one there. But when I looked back, the mirror was fogged from breath. One word traced into the condensation, slowly fading. Underneath. Her tag read Jane Doe number 417. Found in the river. No ID, no clothes, no bruises. Nothing but a bloated stillness and hair tangled with silt and weeds. Paramedics said she was pulled out just before dawn. The water was near freezing, but her skin was warm. Not freshly alive kind of warm. Not recently dead. It was the kind of warmth that's wrong, like a switch had been flipped somewhere deeper than blood, deeper than bone. I prepped her like I always do, gloves on, tools lined up. Something about her face bothered me. Too perfect. Eyes closed, skin pale, lips just parted like she was halfway through whispering a secret when the river silenced her. I turned to grab the clipboard. When I looked back, she was smiling. Not big. Just a slight tug at the corners of her mouth. It might have been a muscle twitch. I told myself that. Wrote it off and continued. But every time I glanced away, it changed. Lips pursed, then parted, then drawn back just enough to show teeth. Small, straight teeth, too straight. It didn't stop. I tried to record it. Set my phone next to the slab and hit video. Left it there, walked out of the room, tried to breathe. When I returned, I played the footage. Nothing. No smile. No twitch. Just me, moving around, talking to myself under my breath. But then I heard something else. Under the rustle of my coat, the scribble of pen on paper, a voice. It whispered something low, wet-sounding, in a language I didn't recognize. My voice was layered beneath it, speaking normally, unaware. I scrubbed the audio again and again, isolating the sound, slowing it down. The whisper said, "I remember you." I dropped the phone. When I picked it up again, the screen was black. The battery had been full. That night, I couldn't bring myself to put her back in a drawer. Every time I touched the tray, my fingers stung like I'd brushed dry ice. So I left her there on the slab, covered her with a sheet, and locked the door behind me. But the next morning, when I came back, the sheet was folded neatly at her feet. And her smile was gone. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her mouth. That delicate, widening curve. Not a grin, no. It wasn't joy. It was recognition. Like she was waiting for me to realize something I'd forgotten. The next night at the morgue, I pulled the CCTV footage from the autopsy room. Just to prove to myself I was losing it. We've got 4 cameras, one in each corner of the ceiling, time-stamped and looped. Standard grainy black and white. No sound. I queued up the feed from the hour I'd left her alone. For the first 5 minutes, nothing moved. Then the screen hiccuped. A single flicker. No skipped frame, just a digital tremble like the whole file flinched. I paused it. Rewound. Slowed it down frame by frame. And that's when I saw it. For one single frame, barely a blink of time, her eyes were wide open. Fully. Staring straight into the lens. Her smile stretched far too wide. Her head tilted just so, like someone listening to a song only they could hear. I felt my chest tighten. I printed the frame. I don't know why. I just needed it in my hand. Proof I wasn't unraveling. As it printed, I noticed something strange. The timestamp read 3:33 a.m. I checked the logs. The lights flickered in the hallway, twice every second, starting precisely at that time. A perfect heartbeat rhythm. And the smell, the sickly sweet rot, that always comes then too. I looked back at the printout. Her eyes, there was something wrong with them. I leaned in, squinted. The pixels bled into each other, but there was a reflection. Not of the room. Not of the ceiling. It looked like faces. Dozens, maybe more. Pale and clustered like barnacles, pressing against a surface, screaming without sound. I dropped the photo and turned off the monitor. And that's when I noticed the red light on camera 4. It was recording. But the feed was blank. Just static. I stepped into the hallway to check the panel. The lights above me blinked, twice. Pause. Twice again. The lens of camera 4 turned toward me. Slowly. Like a living eye. I stared back. And for a second, just 1 second, I saw myself in the reflection. Not moving. Not blinking. Just standing still behind the glass. Smiling. The drain in autopsy room B is old. Cast iron, circular, fitted with a rust-stained grate. I'd never thought about it before, not really. Fluids go down, that's its only job. But lately, when the building settles into its 3 a.m. stillness, I hear it. Not dripping. Not gurgling. Whispering. It started faint, like air pushing through a narrow pipe. I thought it was just plumbing. Old building, old pipes, nothing strange. But last night it spoke my name. Clear as breath on glass. Michael. I froze mid-step. Every part of my body prickled like static was crawling under my skin. I waited, staring at the drain from across the room. Then it came again. Fainter this time. Drawn out. Meayical. And the voice, it sounded familiar. Not generic, not imagined. It was my mother's voice. She died 6 years ago in her sleep. Buried with rosary beads clutched in her hands and hymns playing on a CD we found in her old drawer. I hadn't thought about that sound in years. I approached the drain slowly. Bent down. My breath fogged the steel. "Hello?" I whispered, feeling like a madman. Nothing. I grabbed a flashlight and peered in through the grate. Just darkness. Tangled hair maybe. Or roots. Couldn't tell. But something was moving. Slowly. Like it was breathing. Then something clinked up from the dark. Hit the inside of the pipe with a tiny metallic tap. Once. Twice. 3 times. I watched as it rolled up, against gravity, and lodged itself just beneath the grate. A tooth. Human. Small. Yellowed. I stepped back so fast I hit the wall behind me. My hand instinctively went to my mouth. All my teeth were still there. I didn't sleep. I didn't go home. I just sat in the break room with the lights on, listening. At 5:41 a.m., I heard the drain gurgle again. Just once. The same way someone clears their throat before speaking. I went back to autopsy room B as daylight broke. The tooth was gone. But scrawled across the white tile floor, written in something that looked like bile and ash, was a single word. Below. I locked her in drawer 9. I remember clearly, closed it myself, turned the key, logged the timestamp, 2:47 a.m. There's a particular clang to those old drawers when they shut, like metal jaws biting down. I heard it. Felt the rattle in my bones. She was secured. I even checked again before I left. Still locked. Still cold. But when I returned the next night, she wasn't there. Drawer 9 was open, just slightly, maybe 2 inches. Enough to let cold air spill out in a mist that hugged the floor. The body was gone. I stood frozen, bile rising in my throat. I wasn't afraid of losing my job. I was afraid of where she went. Of how she left. No one else had access. I was alone. The cameras were recording. I ran to the monitor room, hands shaking so badly I almost dropped the hard drive as I plugged it in. There she was, slab, sheet, everything. Still and still and still. Then, at 3:33 a.m., the footage glitched. Exactly like before. One flicker. When the feed came back, the drawer was open. She was gone. I rewound it 10 times. Nothing. One frame, drawer closed. Next frame, open. Empty. I searched the entire facility. Every room. Every drawer. Every cooler. I found her lying neatly atop a different autopsy table. Slab 3. Head resting on the steel, hands folded over her stomach like she was waiting for a portrait to be painted. Her expression had changed. The smile was gone, but her lips were wet. Glossy. As if she just licked them. Her body was dry when I stored it. I'm sure of it. Something else was wrong, too. She was warmer. I checked the ambient temperature, it was lower than the night before. Still, her skin had the faintest pink tint. Like blood moving just beneath the surface. I pressed 2 fingers to her wrist, against my better judgment. There was no pulse. But I could have sworn I felt her twitch. Just once. A small, subtle jerk of the tendon, like something deep inside her was shifting position. I stepped back. And that's when I saw it. The sheet from her drawer. It was folded perfectly on the floor beside the autopsy table. Corners aligned. Edges crisp. Something had taken her out. Something had laid her there. He arrived just after midnight. No appointment, no phone call, no prior contact. Just an old man in a black cassock, soaked from the rain that hadn't yet started. I was in the office, trying to write a report I couldn't focus on, when I heard the side door buzz. I shouldn't have answered, I know that now, but I did. He introduced himself as Father Casimir. His voice was cracked stone and wet leaves. Eastern European accent, maybe Polish, maybe older. I was told something was stirring here, he said. Not someone. Something. I didn't invite him in. He came anyway. He moved slow, like his joints had long ago turned to glass. But his eyes were sharp. Clouded with cataracts, yet staring through me. I've seen this before, he said, stopping in the corridor by the lockers. I can smell it. It finds the lonely places. He turned to face locker number 23, which no one had mentioned. No labels. No paperwork. Just the humming cold and the frost bleeding from its seams. She touched it, didn't she? He asked. The girl from the river. She went near it. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Father Casimir took a vial from his coat, a cloudy liquid the color of bone marrow, and poured it around the locker in a tight circle. It sizzled on contact, like acid hitting ice. She's not a girl anymore. If she ever was. I followed him, stupid with disbelief, as he walked into autopsy room B. The lights above us blinked, twice. Pause. Twice again. That same rhythm. Heartbeat. He glanced at the drain and froze. His lips moved in silent prayer. There's something beneath, he whispered. Not dead. Not alive. Not alone. I tried to ask what he meant. He only shook his head. There's a gate here. And she found it. But she didn't come through it alone. Then he reached into his coat and handed me something wrapped in black cloth. A relic, he said. Keep it near you. Don't unwrap it. Ever. His hand trembled as he placed it in mine. You've already heard it, haven't you? The voice? I nodded. He nodded, too. Sadly. I'm sorry, he said. They always find the listener. He left before the sun rose. Disappeared like smoke. No record of him in any church directory. No sign of him on camera. Nothing but muddy footprints that stopped halfway down the hall. And a note, tucked into the office door. It remembers the first time you looked away. I had to know. There's a rule they don't put in textbooks, not really, you don't cut into something if your hands are shaking. But mine wouldn't stop. I kept thinking of what the priest said. That she wasn't alone. That something was using her like a hand uses a glove. I wheeled her into autopsy room A. The cleanest one. The furthest from the drain. The overhead light buzzed louder than usual. The hum of the cooler behind me was too deep, too steady. Like it was holding its breath. I laid her out. Pale, stiff, serene. That almost smile again, like she knew what I was about to do. I whispered, I'm sorry, though I don't know who it was for, her or myself. Scalpel. Midline incision. Just above the sternum. As the blade touched skin. Every light in the building went out. Instant, total black. A silence so thick it pressed on my eardrums. I didn't move. I didn't even breathe. Then came the breathing. Not mine. It was close. Low. Wet. One inhale. Pause. One exhale. A shadow moved across the slab. I backed away, arms out, scalpel still in hand. Then a light flared, a soft red glow, pulsing from beneath her ribcage. Not blood. Not tissue. It was something else. Alive. I watched in horror as the skin around the incision peeled itself wider. No pressure, no tearing. Just a slow opening, like it wanted me to look inside. And I did. There were eyes. Dozens of them. Embedded in muscle, blinking out of sync. Pale, lidless, twitching. And teeth. Not where teeth should be. A ring of them, gnashing silently just beneath her lungs, grinding together like they were chewing on something I couldn't see. My hands were shaking so violently the scalpel dropped and skittered across the floor. Then the eyes turned, all of them, to face me. A voice came from inside her. Not through her mouth. From within. It wasn't words. Not language. But I understood it. You have opened the gate. The lights came back in an explosion of white. I was on the floor. The slab was empty. The body was gone. The walls were smeared with black fingerprints, like something had climbed out. The only trace left behind was the relic the priest gave me. Still wrapped. But warm. The drain was open. I didn't do it. I never would have done it. But the grate was lifted clean from the floor in autopsy room B, set gently aside like someone had placed a teacup on a saucer. And there were steps beneath. Stone. Ancient. Chiseled by hand. They spiraled downward in a tight coil, slick with condensation and streaked with something dark. Not rust. Not blood. Something, older. I brought the relic. Still wrapped. I don't know why I went down there. Curiosity is one word for it. Compulsion is closer. The air changed after the fourth step. Thicker. Heavier. Like walking into a memory you were never supposed to have. The hallway below wasn't man-made. Not really. The stone was black and glassy, veined with strange patterns that shimmered like veins under skin. It was warm. Breathing. I swear it. And then. I found them. Bodies. Standing. Rows upon rows of corpses, upright, bare, arranged like statues in a forgotten cathedral. Some fresh. Some ancient. All with eyes open, locked in eternal stare. Each of them faced the center of the room, where a pit pulsed with red light. Like a heart. Like it was alive. Their skin was wet, slick with something clear. Not embalming fluid. It smelled sweet. Too sweet. That same syrupy rotite smelled above the drain. It clung to my throat, made my tongue feel too big in my mouth. One of the bodies turned. I didn't see it move, but I heard the wet pop of joints shifting. When I turned to run, more had moved. Just slightly, shoulders tilted, heads turned, arms twitching in slow, dreamlike gestures. Not random. They were reaching for me. One whispered. Not with lips, but inside my head. A whisper made of memory. A child's laughter. My mother singing a lullaby. The sound of someone I loved choking in the dark. The relic in my hand throbbed. It burned through the cloth. I dropped it without thinking. It unwrapped itself midair. It was a tooth. Long yellow. Carved with symbols that bled ink. The whispering stopped. All the bodies turned to face it. Then they dropped. All of them. At once. A soundless collapse of meat and bone, as if a puppet master's strings had been cut in unison. The light in the pit flickered. A shape stirred beneath it. And then. It smiled. I don't remember climbing back up the stairs. I don't remember leaving the morgue. But I woke up in my apartment, shoes caked in black dirt, my hands smelling like old flowers and copper. The relic was gone. But something had been left in its place. On my nightstand, wrapped in a blood-stained cloth, was a toe tag. My name. Michael Greaves. D.O. blank. I didn't go back to work. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I just sat in that room, staring at the tag. At some point, I realized the shadows weren't staying where they should. That the mirror in the hallway reflected me, but only if I looked directly at it. Side glances showed something taller. Something with more fingers. That night, the phone rang. It wasn't a number. Just blank. I answered anyway. There was breathing on the other end. Then a voice, crackling like leaves in a fire. You called us when you opened her. I tried to speak. I couldn't. You wanted to know. Now you do. You gave us your place. And then the line went dead. I went back to the morgue. I had to. I don't know why, I think part of me already knew it was mine now. Not the job. Not the building. The gate. Father Casimir was waiting in the corridor. But he looked different. His hands were shaking. His robes were torn. His eyes were fully white now, rolled back like the river girls. He clutched a Bible to his chest, whispering fragments of Latin that never finished. When he saw me, he wept. You let it in, he sobbed. You answered the knock. He opened the Bible. It had no words. Just a single black tooth, pressed into the spine like a bookmark. He held it out to me. I tried to take your place. But it doesn't want me. It chose you. I didn't take it. I just turned and walked toward autopsy room B. The hallway lights blinked twice. Pause. Twice again. The smell of rot syrup filled the air. I heard the drain gurgle. And somewhere below, a door I'd never seen before began to open. I no longer fear the dark. I've learned to see in it. The fluorescent lights above the slab hum faintly, but they don't matter anymore. I rarely turn them on. There's another glow now, dim and pulsing, leaking up through the drain grates and the cracks in the tile. A heartbeat of red. A steady call. The gate never closes once it's opened. And I am its caretaker now. I still wear the scrubs. I still log the bodies. People come and go above, paperwork gets filed, the world spins stupidly on. No one asks what happened to Michael Greaves. I don't think they can anymore. The badge still fits around my neck. The skin beneath it is starting to peel. Tonight, I received a new intake. Jane Doe. No ID. No belongings. But I recognized her. It was my mother. Or, her face, anyway. Her hair was too long. Her skin was too smooth. She shouldn't look that young. She died gasping for breath, curled up under a blanket, whispering the Lord's Prayer through cracked lips. But this version. She smiled. Wide. Welcoming. I wheeled her in without a word. Placed her gently on the slab. She didn't blink. But her eyes moved. They followed me. From my pocket, I pulled the cloth. The one I thought I lost. Inside it, warm to the touch, was the black tooth. It clicked when I set it down near her feet. Like a key dropped on a metal tray. Her mouth opened. No breath. No voice. Just space. A darkness within her throat, so deep I felt wind coming out of it. Cold and fragrant, like lilies left too long in a closed casket. She whispered one thing, just one. Thank you for coming home. I didn't scream. I just nodded. Because I knew then, I was never meant to leave this place. I had been claimed, long before I first touched the scalpel. I turned and opened locker number 23. Inside, it was already waiting for me. Empty, but warm. Welcoming. From the hallway, I heard the buzzer. Another new arrival. Another one lost. Another listener. I smiled. The light above me blinked twice. Pause. Twice again. And beneath the slab, something moved.